good morning. Hello to everyone again. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you in this kind of sessions. Thank you very much for joining us and also for being interested in learning with us. My name is Tânia Moreira. I'm project manager and consultant at INOVA and partner of the S+T+ARTS Prize. This project is the reason of why we are here today. So if you don't know this project, find all the information at starts.eu. Go Google this project. This is the project that manages the S+T+ARTS Prize winners. In September, we will host a full day dedicated to the S+T+ARTS, and there you can also find more information on the winners. Please go to the website and know everything about this day and also the S+T+ARTS Prize. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming a friendly face, Solange Leal, who will answer our questions on public funding for projects like the ones that we have in the S+T+ARTS community, these interdisciplinary projects. Thank you very much, Anna, for being with us. And well, public funding is like an ocean. We know it exists, but we don't know everything about it. Solange Leal will help us getting to know better this ocean. Thank you very much for this, Anna. And well, just to introduce you a bit with Anna, I know that you read already in the event description, but again, just to remind you a bit. Anna is a senior project manager and the head of unit of the research and innovation unit at INOVA. So she is my colleague. Thank God she is my colleague. She is expert in the coordination and participation in European funded projects and in the elaboration of proposals to submit to various funding programs of the European Commission and mainly to the Horizon Europe. I like to call this program like the championship league of the funding public programs. So it's very good that it's very, very relevant to have Anna Leal sharing this kind of expertise with the S+T+ARTS community. Anna Leal identifies also opportunities within the funding programs, the European funding programs, and establishes contacts with national and international organizations for the formation of consortia. So we will also learn a bit about these kinds of aspects when building a proposal. Again, I'm very glad to host this session and welcome my colleague Anna Leal and to learn from her. And before passing the word to Anna, a couple of practical things. I think you already noticed this. The session is being recorded. The goal is to later on share the recording on YouTube, so you can again watch the recording if you want. And now a quick request from our side. You see the field with your name. If you can, besides the name, include your organization, just for us to know a little bit better who you are, your organization. It would be cool to have your name plus the organization that you are representing. And finally, the format of today's session is similar to the previous ones. It is an informal format. If you have questions, please raise your hand by clicking on the button raise hand below on the screen. Or you can also write your questions on the chat and we read and answer you. And well, if you like S+T+ARTS and want to keep updated on these different news, these events and so on, please subscribe to the S+T+ARTS newsletter and follow us on social media and websites. I'm going to copy on the chat the links for the S+T+ARTS newsletter and the social media. Access the links and know everything about the S+T+ARTS world. And now, well, let's move to the most important part of the session, please, and illuminate our minds. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Tanya, for such nice introduction, and good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to share a little bit my experience in what concerns public funding. As Tanya mentioned, I'm currently head for research and innovation at INOVA, but I'm working in European projects since 2005. Things have been evolving, and today my mission here will be to try to share a little bit on how can we navigate this maze within the different European funding sources with a clear focus perhaps more on programs that address creative and cultural and artistic aspects. But as Tanya mentioned, and this is one point that I always like to stress, for me, it's more than a monologue and having me presenting the slides. It's important to try to clarify any doubts that you might have. Tanya has shared previously to the session a set of questions. I will try to address them throughout my presentation, but in case I missed any or additional questions emerge, please do not hesitate to interrupt or to ask because this session is for you and to address your needs. So don't be shy and let us know exactly on how can I at least provide some advice based a little bit on my experience. Let me know if you can see my screen. Okay.
Yes, we
Tanya,
can.
as well, I'm presenting, I'm not able to see the chat. So in case something comes up, please let me know and interrupt me if you see it's needed. Okay.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so very briefly, the session today, I added main 3 points. Where to start? As Tanya mentioned, there are too many European funding programs that offer opportunities to receive some funds to implement our ideas and projects. So where do I start? What is the starting point? Where can I go to initiate my journey, let's say, within the public funding initiatives? Then I will be focusing on 3 specific programs, focusing on the areas that are more related with the STARTS initiative, and I will give you some hints on how to apply in terms of, let's say, the methodology that we see as most appropriate to prepare a successful proposal for approval. And of course, questions and answers appears at the end of the agenda, but as I mentioned, this can happen throughout the presentation. Don't need to wait for the end of the session. Okay. So where to start is I would say, one of the initial questions when we start working in this area of European funding. And our starting point should be, is my idea interesting for local area, for a country only, for only my organization? Who can be interested in my idea come to life? It's something that can be beneficial for Europe as a whole, or is not that ambitious and it's more locally driven? So this is the first question we should ask ourselves. And in case is more restricted in terms of interest, this means if it has an interest that will only be beneficial for my institution, for my region, or even for my country, then I should start looking into structural funds. Structural funds are the national programs, let's say, that each country has. Its part is also coming from the European Commission, but they are managed by national entities and address national realities and challenges and smart specialization strategies, priorities, and so on and so forth. But if your interest, the interest of your idea goes beyond the borders of your country or of a country, then it might be relevant for Europe or even beyond. And in that sense, we can and should look to European funds, namely Horizon Europe, as Tanya mentioned, is the main instrument that I work currently. It's one of the programs that can offer you opportunities. Okay, so now I have my idea. Today I will be focusing solely on the European fundings. Okay, for structural funds, there are usually the national innovation agencies that can be helpful in providing you information. but this session will be focusing on European fundings and, as I mentioned, 3 specific fundings that I will be presenting later on. So, where to start to scan the calls? I would suggest to use the main platform of the European Commission. Probably many of you already know it. Is the Funding and Tender Opportunities portal. It's a platform that has been evolving across the framework programs, and the European Commission is trying to assemble in a single platform information of different programs that they manage and that address different sectors and entities and organizations in Europe. The grants are direct financial contributions provided by the European Union that are awarded by way of a donation to third-party beneficiaries. Grants represent a major part of European Union expenditure and fall into 2 broad categories. Grants that finance actions intended to help achieve an objective that forms part of European policy, or operating grants that finance the operating expenditure of a body pursuing an aim of general European interest. They usually are based on costs actually incurred, but some of the actions have been evolving also, and grants are also being provided as a lump sum. So not based on actual costs, but based on completion of tasks as proposed. So I don't know if this is new for you in terms of the existence of this portal, but there's here this search tool, okay, that can be very useful. In this blue box, you have listed all the European funding programs that are managed through this platform. There are others, but as I said, this is being a process, and therefore there might be other European funding programs that are not managed through this platform, but they are trying to bring the single program into this platform. So you can have here the list, and by the name you can already have an idea of what is the scope of that program. And in here you have a search tool that you can use to find the funding opportunities for something that you are looking, and I will explain how to use this. As I mentioned, we are going to explore today a little bit 3 programs: Creative Europe, your Digital Europe program, and Horizon Europe, that are highlighted in your screen. And we will explore the system. In order to do this, and instead of using my presentation, I will go directly to the portal to show you how this works. Let me know, I think you are now seeing the platform of the European Commission.
Yes, we are.
Yes, okay. So you can do a search by a keyword, okay? For instance, if you are looking, I don't know, for creative industries, let's try this. I will put it here. Let's do a search, and immediately they show you what are the grant opportunities that exist that have the keyword that you have selected, okay? And immediately you can have some initial information, such as if it's a tender or if it's a grant. There is a difference, okay? Tender is like a service provision, so they have like this clear list of activities that you have to perform in order to get the grant. The grants are more open, so they present you the challenge and the scope of the funding, but the methodology and the type of activities that are going to be implemented can be designed and proposed by those that are applying. I will be focusing on grants because I think it's more what it's interesting to you. And for instance, if you have here creative industries, you have, as I mentioned, the different opportunities that are open for submission, but you can also consult those that have been already open and closed in the past, and those that are still not open for submission, but that are planned and will be available soon for submission. This allows everyone also time for preparation and to find the consortium and to find the methodology or think, plan the idea of the project that you would like to propose. For instance, let's create here this one. This one is a topic within Horizon Europe, and you can see that here. They show you the program, okay? They tell you what kind of action it is. So in Horizon Europe, there are 3 types of action usually. That is the research and innovation action, that is more towards research activities, innovation action, projects that intend to bring some kind of solution or product or methodology towards the market, or the coordination and support actions, as is the case of this topic, that is more focusing on networking, dissemination, exchange of good practices, and so on and so forth. And it has already the deadline. So proposals have to be submitted by the 20th of September. Okay. In here, if you click on the title of the opportunity, you will be able to have additional information by starting with what are the expected outcomes that the projects funded by this topic, in this case, will have to contribute to. And this gives you immediately an idea of if this is something that is aligned with your idea, with your expertise, with your aim, or if it's not, then I go back and I search for additional. They always give you a scope, so like a background of why the topic is available, what is the need within the within Europe that justifies the opening of this topic, because as I mentioned earlier, all the European grants and all the European funding programs are based on European policies, okay? So they provide money to organizations in order for their projects somehow contribute to the achievement of the European policy, okay? And then they give you all some information on kind of activities that should be there, but they don't clearly say that you have to do 20 events with 50 people in a hybrid format or so on and so forth. So methodologically, you are open to propose whatever it's your intention. And then, of course, there's additional information like more background information on the basis of the mission, what are the general conditions to be able to apply for this opportunity, who are the entities that are eligible, what are the funding rate, because some of the projects are not funded at 100%. Some of them are less, depending on the type of action, and special conditions if apply or not. And then, of course, templates that you have to fill in to submit the proposal, which can also give you an idea on how to structure your the project. An important aspect also is partner search announcements, which means that in here you can see at least 97, in this case, organizations that are interested in this topic. So in case you don't have a consortium, you can try to see if within these organizations that express the interest in this topic are relevant entities with whom you could partner or start conversations to come up with a proposal. And then the fact frequently asked questions, in this case, there are none. but it's always useful to go to this section because sometimes it provides clarifications on something that is not completely clear in the topic, and then the updates if needed be concerning whatever is relevant for the topic. In this case, for instance, it's the information concerning the Hungarian entities that at this moment are not able to receive funding through some political issues, and therefore when planning to have a consortium with the Hungarian entities, you have to be aware that they might not be able to receive the fund. But just to give you an overview of what you can find when looking into a topic. Any questions so far? Okay, so I can go there and then search and look at the opportunities and so on and so forth, and have all the information of a given call that is available at the moment. As I mentioned, I will be focusing on 3 programs: Horizon Europe, Creative Europe, and Digital Europe programs. But for you also, it's important to cascade funding, which are calls that are open within the scope of projects that are funded within other funding programs. I will get there. It might be a little bit weird to hear it like this, but I will get there. Okay, so starting by the main funding instrument for research and innovation of the European Union. It's the Horizon Europe. It has a budget of 95 billion euros, which is huge. And it has been created to strengthen Europe's scientific and technology basis, and also to boost the innovation capacity. Also, Horizon Europe has an emphasis on citizens' priorities and socioeconomic models and values, because social and environmental values are increasing in priorities, and therefore sustainability is one of the key actions that the European Commission is trying to pass through its funding opportunities. Just a little bit to give you an overview on the structure of the program. The program is structured in 3 pillars and 1 horizontal area. So pillar 1 is more focused to excellent science. It's like hard research, hard science, basic research, mobility of researchers. So I don't believe it would be perhaps the most interesting pillar to you. Pillar 2 and pillar 3 are perhaps those that might be more interesting. The widening participation is an horizontal level of the program that is focusing on those countries that within the innovation scoreboard are not considered yet as super innovators, and therefore it's an opportunity for them to have calls that address that need in improving their innovation level. Pillar 2 is composed by 6 clusters that respond, let's say, to main fields of priorities from the European Commission. And as you can see, the names, one is dedicated to health, the other is cultural, creative, and inclusive society, the other is civil security for society, the 4th focus on digital industry and space, the 5th is focusing on climate, energy, and mobility, and the 6th it's more leaning towards concerns related with food, bioeconomy, natural resources, environment, and agriculture. In here, there are priorities that are established by cluster, and the topics or the funding opportunities there are designed to respond to specific challenges within these sectors. the definition of the work program is made in consultation with European stakeholders and actors, and therefore the calls are designed in a co-creation, let's say, process where researchers, industry representatives, local authorities are heard in terms of what should be the priorities and what should be the topics to be listed or designed and funded within the program. One of the advantages of Horizon Europe is that the work programs are presented in advance. They are usually designed for a 2-year period. Currently, we have the work program for 2023-2024 in force, which allow us to have like this calendar overview with a long time and allow us to prepare our projects well in advance without having just 3 months or 4 months to be aware of the call and prepare the proposal. Pillar 3 is focusing on innovative Europe. It's more towards market ideas that are more ready to be launched, let's say. And in here, I would say that for you, it might be relevant to try to explore the European Innovation Council opportunities, as well as those that are proposed by the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, that also has different strands in terms of sectors like raw materials, food, health, depending on the EIT. Okay, back into cluster 2, pillar 2, sorry. I would say that probably for you, the most relevant cluster can be cluster 2, focusing on cultural, creative, and inclusive society. But nevertheless, I would not completely ignore the others, since more and more integration of social sciences and artistic perspectives are being called upon in different topics in the other clusters. But I would say that the main opportunities, or the most of the opportunities, might be within cluster 2. The calls for this cluster are open and will be closing in February next year. So take a look to the opportunities within this cluster. And if you see any topic that is of relevance, then you might have an opportunity to present proposals by February next year. Also, I would like to inform that on the 18th of October, there will be an info day promoted by the European Commission. It's going to be online to explain the opportunities existing exactly on cluster 2. Okay, let me see if I can share here. Okay, so it will be on the 18th of October. I think you're seeing the event page. Okay, yes. And you have here the program, but an important thing also is the brokerage event that will happen on the 19th of October.
Porque as pessoas que são parceiros também não se podem demitir, apesar de serem parceiros, também não se podem demitir.
The brokerage event, it's an opportunity that you have online to get to meet other entities that are looking into the calls and the opportunities on cluster 2, and then you will be able to pre-arrange meetings to introduce yourself, your competences and skills, and try to find consortiums where you can contribute or enter as a partner. As you can see here, they have already registered 1,585 participants from different countries. And if you go to the marketplace, you will be able to see the profiles and the opportunities that people are proposing there to have. Just to conclude in terms of the horizon, I would like also to mention the opportunities within the missions. Okay, the European Commission has established at this moment 5 missions that you can see on the screen that also have opportunities for funding there. For instance, the topic that we have seen earlier in the portal was one of the opportunities within the ocean mission. But take a look there, because these are areas where civic participation, local activities are deemed relevant, and might be that you can find an opportunity for you also there. More recently, it's in discussion that a mission on New European Bauhaus might be launched by the European Commission in the coming year. So stay tuned, because if that happens, for sure, there will be plenty of opportunities for you within that mission area. Let's see. I don't know if you have any questions so far, but if so, Daniel will let me know. Okay, so the second program is Creative Europe. I believe that many of you already have heard of it, or have already been participating often in there. It's a program that is addressing cultural and creative organizations, including cinema and films, and provides support to cultural and audiovisual sectors. The costs in here usually are reimbursed at 90%. So if you are looking for opportunities that fund 100% of your costs, this might be an issue, but nevertheless, 90% is pretty good. And the program builds around three strands: cultural, media, and cross-sectoral, that addresses different areas and challenges. So I invite you also to take a look to each one of them, and according to your field of expertise, because there might be opportunities there. Currently, the calls are closed. They are expected new calls to be launched for next year. But nevertheless, I invite you to go to the page of the program and take a look. Also to consult a little bit the projects that have been funded in this program, to understand a little bit the philosophy behind it, and to try to design any idea that you might have according to what is being made in the program. The third program, as I mentioned, is the Digital Europe program. Is a program that aims to accelerate and drive digital transformation in Europe. It focuses in very technological areas such as supercomputing, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, but also intends to advance digital skills and to promote the wide use of digital technologies across economy and society. And in that sense, it calls a lot for the participation of small, medium enterprises, which can also be an opportunity for many of you if your institution is an SME. This is not to say that the program is closed to SMEs. Okay, it's open to different type of organizations, associations included, but with an emphasis, I would say, in small, medium enterprises. There are two areas that perhaps might be more relevant to you. One is on advanced digital skills, and in here you can, they are looking for programs and training that can support key capacity areas in what concerns digital skills. And sometimes the way creative and cultural industries work in this area might be innovative and interesting to present in this program. And then the use of digital technologies is another area where I see an opportunity or interest probably to many of you, since they are cross-sectoral. It can address health, it can address Green Deal, it can address smart communities, or even specifically addressing cultural sector. And therefore, I would also invite you to take a look to the opportunities within this program. The calls are open. The deadlines will be closing in September. So it might not be, let's say, the ideal time frame to apply, but nevertheless, in case you find a consortium that is already ongoing, it might still be an opportunity to jump in and to address. Just to mention that depending on the topic, the funding might be 100%, but in other cases might be lower, going, for instance, up to until 50% of the cost. So one thing that I always advise people also to take a look is the funding rate when addressing a topic of interest. Then the final part, it's what is called cascade funding. It's a European mechanism to distribute public funding, but that is not managed directed by the European Commission, is managed within projects that have been receiving funding from the European Commission. So it's a way of the European Commission decentralize, let's say, the distribution of funds and the management of all the administrative burden that comprises that process. So the contract, when you are a recipient of a grant through a cascade funding, is signed between you and a project, a coordinator, or an organization of a given project, and not directly with the European Commission. So the liability towards the European Commission relies on the project that is launching the opportunity, and your responsibilities are towards the consortium that opened the call. Usually and typically, the grants here are of reduced dimension, between 50, usually, and typical. It might happen that some calls are higher, but usually they range between 50 to 150K, which might not be that much, but they can also be very relevant to push an idea forward. Also, one thing is that since these are usually less popular calls, success rates are higher, and therefore there's an opportunity here especially for those organizations that are not yet specialized or very experienced in big European funding projects to initiate the journey within these smaller opportunities, and perhaps enhance their portfolio, and then be able also to present themselves to bigger consortiums and bigger projects. Just to say also that many of the opportunities that are promoted within the cascade funding calls offer free incubation or acceleration services, but also specialized mentoring or access to international network of contacts, which in my view are also interesting aspects to consider if we are entering or looking ways to expand our opportunities. Just to say that also you have the open calls of STARTS, which is a sort of cascade funding. And if you go to starts.eu to the open calls, you'll be able to see what are the calls that are open at this moment and what are the challenges that each one of them is proposing to see if any of it's relevant to you. And the cascade funding, it's in a specific link that is available on the presentation that I have, and that Daniel will be sharing, I think, with all of you after the event. But in here you have what are the competitive calls, and by opening you will be able to see further information. It's not working, I don't know why, but believe me, if you click here, then it will open small information about the opportunity, and usually it also redirects you to a website of the project where further information it's available.
Okay, and 5 more minutes, and then we go for the questions, the final questions.
Yeah, just very briefly. What am I sharing? Okay. So Just very briefly, I'm trying to change the presentation and I'm not doing it. Why the technical problems have to appear now?
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
stop sharing and share it again.
I think
We are
it
still.
will be
Yeah.
best. So very briefly, my last slide is focusing on it's focusing on what are the steps for applying. Since we are only 5 minutes, I will put already everything here. Okay. So this is usually the steps. First, we identify the call, then we identify the partners, initiate the writing, we work on the budget, we revise and revise and revise the proposal before submission, and then we submit this. Just to let you know that this is advisable timeline for proposal preparation. We say that the optimal time would be 5 months ahead the deadline to start the proposal preparation. It happens sometimes that we start preparing a proposal 1 month in advance. Believe me, it's stressful, and sometimes the outcomes are not as good as it would be if we had enough time to prepare the proposal. So in here you can see what are the advisable time to initiate each one of the steps for proposal preparation, and the intensive writing period with all the partners should take at least 3 months ahead of the deadline. This will allow interactions, it will allow exchange of ideas, it will also allow to ensure that the tasks are aligned with each other, and that will make the difference in the review when being assessed by the external reviewers of the European Commission. I will open the floor to questions because I believe that might be more relevant. I'm open to clarify, just to let you know that INOVA is specialized in supporting organizations through innovation, digital transformation, access to funding, and of course we are available also to support you if you wish to. So let me know your questions, and let's exchange a little bit here. I don't know. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Anna. So has anyone has questions to Anna? Anna has already answered some of the questions that you, when registering to the session, posed. So if you have other questions, feel free to ask them right now to Anna.
Okay. Okay, just to, if no question, that's okay. I think it has been very clear, everything or not. And then if the questions come later, just drop me an email and I will be happy to clarify. Just to let you know that besides the opportunities that are funded or granted by the European Commission, there are others that are promoted by foundations or national council dedicated to cultural and arts at national levels. So I would also advise you to take a look to national opportunities promoted by private or public donors, but not big agencies at the European Commission, because sometimes the opportunities are also there. And it's really a matter of try to search and look in the opportunities that exist.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much also to you all that attended this session. I think we have already a good bunch of things to think about. Thank you very much for this, Anna. Again, in case you have other questions, please share them with us, S+T+ARTS, through our social media. Then we can also share with Anna. Anna is also involved in S+T+ARTS projects, of course, so you might see her somewhere in the starts. And I can again copy the links so you can connect with Anna in LinkedIn. Also, if you have questions, you can reach directly Anna. And I'm going also to copy the links and the LinkedIn accounts on the description of this video on YouTube. So if you are watching this recording on YouTube, you can also find the links on the description. And well, just to let you know, we are preparing our other STARTS sessions. We will come back again after the summer. Now we will go to some vacations, and then after the summer we will have another STARTS sessions. Please follow us on the STARTS social media, website, and so on to keep updated on these sessions. If you have some topic that you would like to address during these sessions, I would like to hear your suggestions, because we can address those topics in these sessions. So prepare something aligned with your needs, your suggestions. And then, as I said, STARTS Prize and the STARTS initiative is organizing sessions on the Art Electronica Festival in September. If you are participating in this festival, I would be happy to connect with you in the festival. Please let me know, send me a message, and we can set a meeting, for instance. On the links, you can also find my LinkedIn account. Connect with me, send me a message if you need, and don't forget to subscribe to the STARTS newsletter. This is the most important thing to keep updated on the STARTS news. Again, thank you very much, Anna, for sharing such amazing...
to answer to Amy, the festival is the Art Electronica Festival. It will take place in September in Linz, in Austria, from the 7th to the 10th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, exactly. Just Google it and then you will find it. For instance, me and Anna will organize a session there, so you might find us there as well. Thank you very much, and see you somewhere in the STARTS sessions on the festival. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye.